In today's video, you'll watch me focus on the staging process to drive difficult movements in a case where the number of aligners was limited due to budget constraints. This is a first phase of treatment addressing aesthetics only, with the option to transition to an ideal treatment plan later. This is one of those treatments where every small detail matters. Sequencing, timing, and collision-free staging determine predictability. I'll take you through the staging step by step so you can see exactly how I handle complex movements when you are limited to a number of aligners. Stage the extrusion over a longer period of time because it's a difficult movement. So I first have to take the roots, get them out of the way, and then I can start intruding. Mandibular incisors per se are difficult teeth to move. This is a setup that I've done. I've limited to 40 aligners, 20 in the bottom, 20 in the top, due to the patient's request. If we go to the original, you can see clearly it's a class 2 division 2 case with retroclined maxillary incisors and the two maxillary incisors overlapping and a very accentuated curve of spear. The patient are really interested in an ideal treatment outcome, but financially she can't just now do it. So the idea is to do a two-phased treatment, address the aesthetics. For her mainly is this lateral here, and then in the mandible, this curve and this crowding that she's got here. So I've moved that to a place where it is, obviously not ideal, but playing between there and there, it is good. Let me just maybe do that. There we go. The two laterals aren't on the same height. That canine is not. But due to the fact that it's an aesthetic address, I cannot fix that in the number of aligners and without that's not the ideal. Although it is, that is what I showed her is going to be like. So all that I did with that canine is to take it out buccally. She's happy with the aesthetics, and from here on, when she's come back, I can do the rest. Now, if I was to do the original ideal treatment from the beginning, in fixed braces, I would have always done a premolar extraction, and I rarely remove a first premolar. I always do second premolars, work with my anchorage and go into a class 1 relationship. I don't want to affect the profile at all. Her profile is beautiful. I can't go back with those teeth, so I made sure that I, instead of rather going back, I actually kept it very similar on that arch, slightly forward with those two. I kept my arch shape, which would be the ideal one at the end. And then, yeah, so that is it. So if I would have done a ideal treatment setup from the beginning, removing 5s would have given me the space to maneuver and unravel the crowding in the front, wheeling the teeth back into the extracted spaces, the spaces of the extracted teeth, and then getting into the final position with lots of space at hand to unravel the crowding. Now I don't have that space, and I still have to unravel the crowding, and doing that in a limited number of aligners. So that is for me a challenge. And then maxillary lateral incisor, very unpredictable, and even these bottom teeth here, although I haven't addressed the curve, I've improved the tip of the teeth and I've slightly intruded them. Going back there, just another thing. With fixed braces, I used to remove 4 premolars. With aligners, personal in my hand, I can do very well. I do well with distalization. With fixed braces, distalizing in the maxilla is easy, but mandibular distalization I didn't find as easy as I do with aligners. So nowadays, I seldom do extractions. I will remove the 8s if they're not removed yet, and I will distalize. I will move the 7s and then the 6, 5s, and then the 4s. Just that enough to unravel the crowding and get my perfect, ideal interdigitation that I need. So let's have a look. Limited space, and I have to remove all the collisions, which there are quite a number in the top and in the bottom, huge. So let's go to the top. What do I have here? Firstly, before even starting off, I've got 2 collisions there, and you can see it is in the area where, no, it's not there, sorry. Okay, so there we go. Remove the bottom, and let's start looking at the staging, what I have here. Immediately, I get a collision around the 2-1-1-1. I have a bit of spacing there, so let us see if I move this one slightly later on. Yeah, it does help. Doesn't minimize that one, but that one is becoming less and less and less. Good. We'll work on the 2-1 and 2-2 a bit later. Let's have a look at this one, the 0.1 there. So what I can do there is, let me see, if I slow down the movement of the central incisor, it stays, doesn't make a difference. I am going to have to take the lateral further. And slightly there. Still have a collision. Nothing. So I'm going to have to do round tripping and bring it back. So there we go, that one's sorted out. And I'm going to have to do some round tripping here as well. So firstly, that the 2-2, the movement is to immediately start rotating. But I'm going to have to combine that with, I know that that second part there is extrusion. So that first part of the movement from 1 to 12, I'm going to, let me break up this movement here, remove the extrusion and last bit of movement there, and having the tooth there, I'm going to go further. Now it's 29. See if I move it down, 27, 23. I'm still not going to stay within my 20 aligner, so let's keep it there. And what happened now? Where is my... No. I'm just going to have to delay that rotation on that tooth as well. So let's see. First of all, get it out of the way. I removed the tooth 3. Let's get that back. Just get it out of the way. That can be done within 6 stages, so let's see how it goes now. Got room, I bring the 2 centrals forward, And now I have to bring that lateral into place from there. Both laterals. And that canine slightly. Good. And I sit with it there. Let's check the movement from the front. It's purely a movement like that. Maybe now I can start this movement sooner. Yes, I can. No, not that soon. There we go. So that gives me 14 aligners to improve the position of the lateral there. It needs, let us add movement, although I can, let's just see, if I do a bit of uprighting of that root, just a little bit. Yeah. That helps. 6 aligners, see if I can do a bit more. Yep. Got it there. Okay, now I have to rotate it and extrude it. So let's do the add movement, and I'm just going to pull it down. No collisions. This is a lot of extrusion. Let's see. We go to 13. Well, 0.22, which doesn't seem to be much. Which leaves me with 7 aligners to do that rotation. But I would love to stage the extrusion over a longer period of time because it's a difficult movement. And if I add now another 7, I can't add extrusion there. So I'm going to make this extrusion slightly less. So let's see. Was 0.22. Oh no, it was 1.7. Make it 1.8. It's 9. Let's do 9 during this stage. There we go. And the rest I will do during the rotation part. So I'm going to add again. I've got enough room there. I've got room there. Let's just get that tooth more space both sides for the rotation to happen, and add movement. I'm going to rotate on the medial edge. Let's see. Rotate on the distal. Maybe on the distal, and there I get a collision. So before I add, that 0.39 is not enough. Go back to the distal. And part of that is also extrusion and a bit of tipping. Okay, let's see what that movement looks like. That is from 6 on. Down, extrusion, and to the middle of the space. Extrusion starts happening, a little bit of uprighting of the root, and there we go into its final position. Not yet final, but it looks so much better. Let's get that right. Oh, 0.8, let's use that. It's actually at the same height. There we go. And I've got 0.20 to bring that canine in. Let's just see. Moved out. Enough space. And now I can bring it back slightly. So let's go there. Add movement and see. Go to the distal. Won't be able to do that. Create a little bit of spaces both sides, and then distal rotation. And there we go. From the front. And then let's fix this lateral here. Let's see what is my range of movement. And getting this one good. And I can bring this tooth slightly back. I think that 3 goes back way too much. It's not aesthetic. Final position, so let's just check it out again. I think it should rotate. I am going to have to bring it slightly there. Okay. Max 20 aligners. Now I can see the canines always move with difficulty. Can I create a longer time that I can apply forces, and from 10 to 20? Let's see. Go and turn. Okay. That is it. Let's check the 2, 3. Extend. Back. Good. I'm happy with the 20 aligners for the top. Let's check and see how we're going to stage these bottom ones. Even before starting off, I've got a collision there, which, let's just see. No, it's coming later. So I'm going to have to change the movement here. It can't start off with a collision and then just become more and more and more. Let's see if I move these slightly later. Doesn't make a difference there, but not with this one. 4, 1, 4, 2. Yo. These incisors move in 3 planes. They come forward, they tip their roots, and they intrude, which is to combine many movements into a few aligners on one tooth creates unpredictability. For more predictability, if you can unravel that and make it less complicated. Mandibular incisors per se are difficult teeth to move. To change their crown and root angulation, to change the tip of a mandibular incisor, or if you don't have a long distance that you move the crown over, is a difficult movement. Intrusion is difficult. So I'm a bit worried about the movements here in the bottom. So let's just take, and there's not one that's more forward than the other, maybe the 2 laterals. So let's just start off. A quick interruption. If you found this video helpful this far, I believe you will enjoy my weekly newsletter, in which I send out tips gained from 30 years of experience, which you can use to improve your treatment outcomes. My promise to you, it won't take you longer than 60 seconds to read each newsletter. If you are interested, the link is in the description box below. Cancelling their movements and breaking it up. Let's cancel all 4 front teeth. Let's cancel all movement. I have the 2 lateral incisors being the most forward, so but that angulation is so bad, so bad, so bad. I can't move the canine, it's caught in, I can't move that one, so I'm going to have to start with these incisors. And all that I can do is tip them forward. tip them forward. Maybe, let's see, 4. I can't even imagine starting to tip those teeth. Let's see. Let's just see. Add movement. Tip. Yeah, there I'm starting to get a collision. And it's more than I can resolve by moving the tooth over to that side. So that's not an answer. Okay. Let's start off by intruding them. That gives you an idea of the amount of space problem that I have here. I can't move the canines. I'm going to have to start moving the premolars. I can't move that one. It's immediately going to create, no, collision. I thought so. Let's just see if I create space there. I can then start moving this one back. Sure, this is way out of space. Let's go that far. Giving me 0.38 there. And I can then maybe move this tooth into that space, having room both sides, and I'm going to need 4 aligners for that. I cannot intrude the laterals, mandibular laterals, because of the inclination. The roots are converging onto the central incisors. If I start intruding, they're going to hit on the central incisor, the mandibular central incisor roots, and it's going to stop all movement. So I first have to take the roots, get them out of the way, and then I can start intruding. So difficult movement. I'm going to have to tip. There I get a collision. That's maybe too much tip, way too much. Let's go back. to have some micro spaces, so I'm going to have to go further back there. Okay, so let's see. First is move the tooth to the distal. And then add movement. Still have to bring that premolar back. This is not going to work. But I'm going to bring all those teeth forward. I've intruded them. I can add there. Will help create space, bring them forward. Add. And bring it forward. Once I start intruding that tooth, it becomes wider there. It's not going to fit in there. I can't do the intrusion there. Let's see how much I brought those teeth forward. $29.04. I've got room to maneuver this tooth, but definitely not enough here. But on the tooth 3, it hasn't moved at all, so I can move the tooth 3 slightly back, scoring space there. Tooth and 4-2. Doesn't make a difference. I'm going to have to utilize squeezing it in tight spaces. Movement, slightly improve the angle there. I'm good yet to intrude and fix those and bring the premolars back, but I don't know how to get this tooth right. Let's see. Systolize it, then I upright it, upright till there. That can be slightly more there. Then I've got room for more uprighting. I'm going to have to bring it into that space. There's no room to move it in there. That's a difficult collision there. It's right on the edge, the gingival margin there. So it's slightly better. I can't upright it all the way. That is it. So on that one, I'm going to add slight intrusion. Have that. Again, difficult collision. Should be able to move it there, but now I've got that. So it's this uprighting of that lateral Okay, got it. Hope. I want to take those teeth to there. Let's just see front. Add it there. Good. Where's this point to? Don't see it. Hmm. This is not going to work. I still need to take those premolars back. And I've got no room for it. I've got no room for them to go back. It's not a bad position, that. I can actually live with that, and that one too. Just from an aesthetic viewpoint. Hmm. Okay. 29. creating a... So if I go there, add movement, and I bring it forward first, I'm creating a lot of space. Something is happening here. What is that? That's a bit of tip. Going to remove that. Okay, let's just start to clean the drawing board with a lateral. Go to the final. First movement's going to be move it distally. And there I can start, add movement again. Let's just see how many aligners for that small movement. Not a small movement. Okay. Review. 4, 2. No collisions, no collisions. Moving. Uprighting, uprighting, uprighting. And now I have to rotate and intrude because I've only got 5 aligners left. I haven't got a full intrusion there. I might consider to not intrude that much there as well. Let's do it. No, I am only going to intrude. I'm going to have to be careful with that collision there. So let's say add movement. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Oh, 2, oh, 3. It's the intrusion. Maybe. Yeah. Tiny, tiny little collisions. I hate collisions. But that's now what I have. Let's just check there. Do I really need 0.82 there? 0.2, 0.2, 0.2. Okay. I am going to suffice with what I have here. This looks weird. The important thing is I'm going to transition later on into a full treatment where I'm going to distalize the 7s, 6, 5s, 4s. Then I can bring the canines in and bring the 5s in into their respective positions. So yeah, this really looks weird. The top so much better, and let's just quickly check. That is fine. That is fine. So let's check the contact points. That is maybe a hard one there. I can just slightly intrude that one to prevent the patient from being uncomfortable with that. Now I've got light contacts. There's one there on the lateral, and that is why I didn't extrude it that much. So let's just take it slightly back. There we go. And then the main thing is what's happening here. I'm creating hard contacts on the central and the lateral there. Let's just follow it through. Oh, that's bearable. I can work with that. Great. Staging done. Now, these bottom movements are really not easy movements. The laterals, the tipping of the roots to the distal, the intrusion. I'm going to have to make use of big attachments there, and I'm going to have to see when and where I am going to add that. Okay, let's continue to the attachments.